I really do truly believe Lighthouse Foundation is very, very special. We love our young people. We genuinely do.
What I realised when I started Lighthouse some 30 years ago was that there was something else needed, that I looked at my own children and I loved them so much and I wanted so much for them, and I'm very territorial. I was sort of there fighting for their rights. And what I saw with young people that were in homeless situations, there was no one fighting for them. But I remember this young person, he was my very first young person that came into my home, and he was one of quite a number of children, and he'd lost contact with all his siblings. He didn't even know in the end how many he had. And I met him at Allambie when I was a carer there, and thankfully that place is closed now, because I remember wanting to take him home and just loving him, and they said, no, we don't want anyone getting attached. And in the end I thought, gee, that doesn't work for me. That's what it's all about, is attachment. So it's really more a restorative approach to working with these young people, and that takes time and loving and therapeutic care, which is about unpacking all that trauma and looking at other ways that we can work with that young person and start restoring in them a sense that they are loved and there is a different way of parenting and taking care of them.
Well, my journey began when I left home just after I turned 16, and I was in a pretty bad family situation where I just felt really unloved and really unappreciated, and I was scared to go home, and it got to the point where I couldn't go home anymore. I just didn't feel like it was the place where I needed to be anymore, so I just left with my school uniform and my backpack, and yeah, I was homeless and I ended up going to a refuge and being given a brochure to Lighthouse, and called them up, and a short time later I was inducted into the program. It was a bit of a struggle at first, because I had managed to get into a crowd where nobody had anybody but themselves, and you're doing all these things to try to belong to almost the untouchables of society, because that's where you've been put. People that have mental health issues, people that don't have family, people that have huge drug issues, and to get out of that and go into the Lighthouse program was really great, because it almost felt like I had a family, and like people, you know, all the other young people were your brothers and sisters, and your carers were your parents, and it felt like, you know, you finally had somewhere where you could go and you were safe and you could trust everybody, and that was such huge impact for someone like me.
Our organisation leads with the heart, and they're not clients, they're young people we care about. We think about when we're at home with our own families, so we don't shut off from them. They're part of the Lighthouse family. It's important Lighthouse continues their work, because it's family and it's a home. But the impact on the community, if we think of it selfishly, these are the young people that, should they not get guidance, they may be the ones that break into your home. They may be the ones that harm someone on the street. So it's a whole community process.
The reason I've come back is because I think about my carer, and I still speak to her, and she's still a part of my life, and she is my family, and I really appreciate now everything that she did to try to help me on the right path, and just like the little things of having someone that really cares about you and tells you that they love you and tells you that you're worth something is, yeah, it's huge. it's just, yeah, it makes you feel like you're worth something, and that's really matters. I think the importance of helping a foundation like Lighthouse is it's not a clinical organisation. It's so holistic in the way that it wants to help young people, and the funding, you know, helps the young people from getting, you know, into school or getting clothes, even getting things like toiletries and stuff like that. Something small that can really make a huge difference in their day-to-day life, you know. Without that funding, you're just scrimping by, and you don't want to have a young person look at their house and be like it's got nothing, and remind them of the fact that they had nothing then and they have nothing now. That's not what you want to remind them of. You want to remind them that everything can be bountiful, you know, even with, you know, a little bit of funding for that special thing every now and then, yeah.
And we don't give up. We never give up. And young people may leave and go away, come back, go away, come back, and just testing those boundaries, but we don't give up, regardless of what the behaviour is. We acknowledge that it's the behaviour, not the young person.
If you can be that sort of stepping stone to help them realise that they can come through a lot of hardship, that's my motivation.
Never giving up is a personal mantra for me, and one that Lighthouse has adopted, because every child is my child, and every child that comes in here is your child. And if they were your child, you'd never give up. You'd just keep going and going no matter what.